All right, so get this. Today we're diving deep into the world of interpretation agency managers.
Really interesting stuff.
Yeah. You said it's a ton of info, so it seems like you're seriously thinking about this career move, huh?
Absolutely. And this is the perfect place to explore it. There's a lot more to it than just knowing a bunch of languages.
Right. These RoleCatcher guides we got blew me away. They lay out the whole path from starting as an interpreter to, like, running the whole agency.
It's true. Most people don't even realize this whole industry exists.
It's like a behind-the-scenes look at how communication happens globally, you know?
Totally. It's happening everywhere, but quietly behind the scenes of big businesses, courtrooms, hospitals, you name it. But the impact is huge.
So let's say you're just starting out. The guide says specializing early, like in healthcare or law, can give you a real leg up. Why is that?
Think about it. You wouldn't go to a general doctor for open heart surgery, right? It's the same here.
Makes sense.
Clients want someone who knows the language, but also all the nitty-gritty terms and cultural stuff specific to their field.
All right, you got to be specialized. Oh, and RoleCatcher mentioned this AI tool.
Yeah.
It analyzes resumes and even predicts how those hiring algorithms score you. That feels kind of like cheating the system.
It's more like understanding the rules of the game. AI is a big deal in hiring these days.
Yeah.
And this tool helps you play to those algorithms and to actual recruiters. Levels the playing field, really.
Like a secret weapon for the job hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but enough about that. What about actually being an interpretation agency manager? The guide makes it sound kind of crazy. High stress, long hours, tough clients. Is it really that wild?
It can be a lot, yeah. Imagine juggling tons of projects, making sure the quality is top-notch, deadlines, keeping clients happy. It's not for everyone.
So you're like a master juggler, huh?
Mm-hmm.
There've got to be some perks to balance all that out, right?
Oh, for sure. The money can be really good, for one. But beyond that, you're leading a team, making a real difference in the world, connecting cultures, helping people understand each other, learning constantly.
I was struck by that too. It's not just knowing the words, but the whole culture behind them.
You got it. A great manager in this field is like a cultural chameleon, you know?
Yep.
Adaptable, gets it, builds trust with anyone.
That takes some serious skills.
Yeah, it's about decoding the unspoken stuff, those little things that go way beyond just the words themselves.
The guide really stresses active listening and cultural sensitivity, says they're non-negotiable.
Rightfully so.
Can you give us an example of how those skills actually play out in a real situation?
Okay, picture a big business deal, lots at stake. One little mistake in translation, or even just the tone being off, could ruin the whole thing.
No pressure, right?
Exactly. But a good manager, they'll pick up on those subtle cultural cues, make sure the interpreter is ready to convey not just the words, but the feeling behind them.
Wow, so you're like a cultural detective.
In a way, yeah. It's not all high stakes and cultural mysteries, though. There's the whole administrative side, too.
Oh, right, the less glamorous stuff.
Yep, budgets, contracts, making sure the team's up to date on all the rules and regulations. It's a really diverse skill set you need.
The guide even recommends certain software to help stay organized. Any favorites you use?
There's this one called, hold on, I had it written down somewhere. Name of interpretation management software. It's getting really popular. It's amazing for scheduling, invoices, even analyzing how well everyone's doing.
Sign me up for that.
Huh.
But even with the best tools, this still sounds really demanding.
It definitely can be.
What surprised you the most while you were digging into all this material?
Honestly, how much they emphasize never stopping learning. You got to be fluent, obviously, and a good manager, but it's bigger than that.
Oh.
You have to be a lifelong learner, constantly adapting to new tech, new trends in the industry, new cultural stuff. It never ends.
Yeah, never stops, huh?
Never. The best managers in this field, the ones who are killing it, they're always digging into something new.
Always learning.
Yeah, going to conferences, reading those super long research papers, even messing around with language learning apps in their free time.
Now that's dedication. And speaking of dedication, all this material emphasizes ethics, like a lot. Why is that so crucial in this line of work?
Trust, plain and simple. Think about it. You're in a courtroom or a hospital, maybe a massive business deal is going down, and you're relying on this interpreter to get everything right.
High stakes.
Exactly. It could change someone's life, right?
Wow.
You got to know that what you say stays private, and the interpreter's being neutral.
No bias.
Right. Just the facts, no opinions, even if they disagree with what's being said. And as a manager, you're not just being ethical yourself, you're making sure your whole team is on the same page.
Setting the standard.
Yep. You're building a reputation, a brand. It all comes down to trust and professionalism.
So how do you actually ensure that? Are there like specific rules or codes of conduct everyone follows?
Oh, totally. There are organizations like the International Federation of Translators and Interpreters. They have these whole codes of ethics.
Oh.
Yeah, they cover everything, confidentiality agreements, what to do if there's a conflict of interest. Like, an interpreter shouldn't work on a case if they know someone involved personally, stuff like that.
Makes sense. Could totally skew things, even if they don't mean to.
For sure. And then there's accuracy, right? Being neutral, I think we touched on that. The message is key, not their opinions.
You'd need nerves of steel for this, both as an interpreter and a manager. So let's say you got that covered, you're moving up the ladder. What are some of the steps along the way?
Well, as you get more experience as an interpreter, you naturally start picking up skills that'll help you be a good manager, you know?
Break away.
Like figuring out how to work with all kinds of clients, what they need, how to talk to them effectively, navigating cultural differences without stepping on toes.
So it's kind of like on-the-job training for leadership.
Big time. You're always putting out fires, thinking on your feet, dealing with stuff you never saw coming, often with a deadline looming over your head. And that builds resilience. You learn to adapt, stay calm under pressure, and those are key for any leadership position.
Makes sense. But it's not just about managing people, is it? There's a whole tech side to stay ahead of too, right?
Oh, absolutely. This field is changing fast, new tech popping up all the time.
I bet.
Take remote interpretation, for example. That's huge now, especially with everyone on video calls these days.
Makes things easier.
Way easier and cheaper, too. Plus, you can work with anyone, anywhere. And then there's AI, of course. AI translation tools are getting crazy good.
It's kind of wild to think about how AI will change things for human interpreters.
Right.
Is it going to be AI versus humans or more like working together?
I'm on team, working together. AI is a powerful tool, especially for things that are kind of repetitive, like translating technical documents or something.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the nuances of human language, understanding cultural context, the emotions behind the words, you can't beat a human.
Makes you think.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's about finding the sweet spot, using tech where it shines, and humans where they excel. And that's where a smart interpretation agency manager really proves their worth.
Totally.
They have to be ahead of the game, not just on language and culture, but on all the tech stuff, too.
Got to keep up.
They need to know how to make AI work for them, enhance their services, not replace the human element, you know? Because ultimately, that's what it's all about.
It's like you're conducting a symphony of languages, cultures, and technology. So for someone just starting out, what are some concrete steps they could take to get their foot in the door and really stand out? It really is. It's like you need a million different skills. So for someone who's just starting their journey in this field, what's the most valuable experience they could get to set themselves apart?
Volunteering or interning at an agency, hands down. It's the best way to see how it all works in the real world.
Get your hands dirty.
Exactly. You'll deal with clients, learn how to coordinate interpreters, handle those crazy last-minute requests. Plus, you'll make connections.
So networking's important too.
Oh, huge. Go to conferences, join those professional organizations. It's all about who you know you know.
Right. The guide also mentioned finding mentors. How crucial would you say that is in this industry?
Mentorship. Oh, it's essential. Having someone who's been there, done that, who can show you the ropes, maybe even open some doors for you. Can't beat that.
Like a fast track to success. Okay, so you volunteered, networked your heart out, found a mentor, you're ready for that dream job. Any interview tips?
First impressions are everything. Look sharp, be on time, and do your homework, you know? Come in with smart questions about the agency, the role, all that.
Show them you're serious.
Exactly. Oh, and don't be afraid to let your passion show. This is a field that attracts people who are genuinely jazzed about languages, about cultures, about bringing people together. Let that shine through.
I love that. Yeah. So let's say you aced the interview, got the job, congrats. Now what? What are some things someone can do to not just survive, but really thrive in this role?
Be a leader, not just a manager, you know? Have a vision, empower your team, create a space where everyone feels supported and valued.
Build a culture.
Exactly. And on the tech side, stay curious. Things change constantly in this field.
For sure.
Explore new software, attend webinars about AI and language processing, that kind of stuff. Never stop learning.
Lifelong student.
That's it. And never forget, you're not just managing words on a page, you're managing human connections. What you do matters. It has a ripple effect. You're bridging cultures, building understanding, making the world just a little bit smaller, a little bit more connected.
Now that's something I can get behind.
Yeah.
Okay, before we wrap up, any parting advice for aspiring interpretation agency managers? Something a little unconventional, maybe.
Hmm. Learn about data.
Data. Doesn't sound very exciting.
Trust me on this. Data is becoming huge everywhere, even in a field as people-focused as this one. Think about it. What if you could not only lead a team of amazing interpreters, but you also understood how to use data to track performance, spot trends, make smart decisions?
Okay, now that's interesting, like having this whole other skill set.
Exactly. So yeah, learn those languages, master those people skills, but don't sleep on data. It's the future, even here.
That's great advice. And to all our listeners out there, if you're up for the challenge, if you're excited about the impact you can make, go for it. Dive into this world head first. Never stop learning, and who knows, maybe someday you'll be the expert voice on a deep dive just like this. Thanks for exploring with us.